Okay, so that just happened. Welcome to my no death run of Batman by Sunsoft for the Sega Genesis, Level 1, Gotham City Streets. What's going on, guys? So I'm not sure where I want to begin. I will point out that the punching sound effects are pretty terrible in this game. Before I get to the GamePro magazine, I want to talk about how I discovered this game. Not that he'll ever watch this video, but shout out to Sega Lord X. His intro music is actually the opening music to this level. Now, this is where I'm going to segue into the GamePro magazine review because the music in this game is one of my favorite soundtracks of any video game ever. So let's talk about the graphics. If you like Batman for NES by Sunsoft, you will like this Batman as well. The graphics are actually really nice in my opinion. I love the way the sprites look. Those goons look pretty awesome. There's some great detail, some great coloring. I'm not going to give it a 5 out of 5, but I will give it a 4 out of 5. Its sound, even though some of its sound effects are kind of lacking, kind of corny sounding, its soundtrack is so goddamn good and one of my absolute favorites of all time. I'm only new to this game. I only played it and discovered it for the first time last year in 2020, but that's how much of an instant classic it became when I heard this game's soundtrack. It's fucking phenomenal. The music, sound of this game, 10 out of 5, 5 out of 5. It's awesome. Its controls are absolutely great as well. In fact, I think they're a little bit tighter than the NES version. Now, I don't want to make this no death run about comparing the two games, because I'm not going to. They're both amazing. Sunsoft's Batman for NES is one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time. One of my favorite NES games of all time, for sure, anyhow. This game, I just really grown to love it when I first discovered it. I just begun to like it that much more the more I played it. Its fun factor to me is a 5 out of 5, and its controls are actually very tight. I'm going to give them a 4.5 out of 5. As, you know, I wish he had the wall jump from the NES version, but instead he has a grapple. Level 2, Access Chemical Facility. My favorite music in the game. So even though this no death run didn't take me too many tries, it still took me a fair bit of preparation. When I decided to start doing this, and well, shout out to Level 1 Online, I recently stumbled across a song he did about me with his favorite song in the game, because I think when I played this game, that's when he more or less discovered it, and I think he watched my initial playthrough and he kind of fell in love with the soundtrack as well. He loves Sky over Gotham, which I really love as well. Like, the whole game soundtrack is amazing. So when I heard that song, it really made me laugh, and it made me want to revisit this game, and therefore it made me want to no death run it. So I do owe Level 1 Online some credit for this no death run, as it's more or less inspired by his song. Now, I did always want to do this game's no death run. Now, it's an easy game, but dying in this game is incredibly fucking easy. So when I first started doing it, I didn't even turn on the camera because my first 10 playthroughs were a lot of preparation. I had to refamiliarize myself with the levels and the enemies and how to approach it, because there are many spots you can die. Now, is it Lion King tough? Fuck no. Is it Shadow Dancer tough? Hell no. But was it tough? It was definitely very difficult. But the preparation is what made it easy. A few other things made it very doable, as I knocked the Joker there into the vat of acid. Level 2 complete. Frugal Ham Museum. Now, I just want to talk about how closely this game follows the movie. It follows it like to a T. That's one of the main reasons I actually prefer this game over the Sunsoft NES Batman. That game has very little to do with the actual movie. In fact, it doesn't follow the movie at all. It barely even follows Batman. It does have a few characters, and again, I don't want to compare the two, but this one just follows Tim Burton's Batman really well. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to give a shout out to Biggie B. Why? Because Biggie B is in this game. There's a few enemies in this level that look just like him. And this big guy up here with his shaggy hair and his big beard and his oversized size looks just like Biggie B. If you guys know Biggie B, tell me if you think that enemy right there throwing an axe at me looks just like Biggie B. I think it's uncanny. Breeze, you are in Batman for the Sega Genesis, and I get to whoop your ass a few more times in this level. So, as Sega Lord X has pointed out, even though he loves this game and it's a childhood favorite of his, and I do thank him for introducing me to the game because I think it's an absolute gem, he mentions that this level is kind of silly because even though he likes the idea that it's the museum from the movie and it follows the movie that accurately, that they had to do something to incorporate some platform elements. Obviously, there wouldn't be floating spikes and platforms going up and down in an actual museum, but you know what? It's a video game from the early 90s, so I look past that and could care less about it. It's the way this game plays that makes it so awesome. It's the way this game follows the movie that makes it so awesome. It's how awesome your Batman sprite looks. And considering how terrible Batman Returns is for the Sega Genesis, this is definitely a hidden gem that still a lot of people are unaware of. Again, it's not a difficult game. I haven't taken the time to play it on hard, starting with only 3 men. It has limited continues, so maybe I will try it on hard. Here I discovered a little secret on how to farm batarangs, bangarangs, which made the no death run, I'm going to say 50% easier. Without this little secret and tip right here that I discovered, because I found it later. In the last level, I discovered this exact secret, so I started to search in the game to find other ways of doing it. I found it here in this level, and it made the rest of the game not easy, but way, way easier.
Irritating. So I'm going to farm here for a while. Why not? Take a couple minutes.
So rewatching this, like, listen to me playing the game. I'm humming the music. You got to play this game.
Let's max it out, actually.
For the music alone. It's one of those fine examples how a movie with a good soundtrack or amazing sound effects, or just how a certain band can have such a great album, that music has such an impact. Now, I think music is such a secondary thing in video games. You want gameplay and graphics probably before anything, but music is not to be underrated. And this game's music is absolutely amazing. As I sit here and farm my way to 99 batarangs for the first time. I don't even know if it would tick over 100, so I thought I'd check it out and try. It doesn't.
Pretty sure you can't get over 100, so let's find out. First time doing this.
Now, is it cheating? Absolutely not. That was me exploiting something in the game, whether it was an error on their part or they left that in as a little Easter egg. But let's talk about some of the controls and how you play the game. Batman has a punch, he has a down low kick, and he has this cool double flip that you do with the C button, then tapping the C button again to perform. Much easier than Revenge of Shinobi. I like to tap it quickly to perform it, and I also like to use it to get through the levels quickly as well. Now, he finishes with a flying knee, which is absolutely awesome. Now, you may think, hey, if it follows the movie so closely, where is this guy in the movie? Well, if you watch the Tim Burton's Batman, you will see all of these goons behind Joker, Jack Nicholson, as he sits up there with Kim Basinger. Even this dude here throwing the boombox at you, when Joker walks around in the movie, this goon is carrying the boombox. Like, hey, maybe he wasn't a big deal, but the fact that they included that is some amazing attention to detail. Batman's grappling hook is also a really awesome feature that adds to the gaming mechanics and gameplay. Level 4, Gotham City Streets.
To make fun of faggot queers like Keith Elwood with no job and no car. His name is Alpha Nerd. He's a no death run champion. He loves to kick butt and he takes names cause he's Alpha Nerd. His name is Nerd, it's Alpha Nerd. His name is Nerd, it's Alpha Nerd. His name is Nerd, it's Alpha Nerd. But they call him Smelly Steve. His name is Nerd, it's Alpha Nerd. His name is Nerd, it's Alpha Nerd. His name is Nerd, it's Alpha Nerd. He's a fucking champ. Woo!
So yeah, I find that song by Level 1 Online absolutely fucking hilarious. Just because, like, I don't know, this level's music is awesome, and the kind of the way he just sings along to it is pretty ridiculous and pretty awesome. So one of the things that made this level a lot easier, like a lot easier, is my 91 missiles there that I farmed in the last level. Bangarangs turned into missiles for this level. This level's short, but it is extremely easy to die, and I'm not good at shooter stages, but having those missiles made it very doable. Now, I was still able to do this when I didn't have tons of missiles, like when I was sitting at 5 or 10, it was just a hell of a lot harder. So this made it like almost a cinch. Hanging near the top and shooting non-stop is a tried and true technique. It's not perfect, but it definitely helped to get the level done. Enjoy the rest of this level's tunes. His name is Nerd, Alpha Nerd. Yeah, level 1 does it way better than me, but that's the part that really cracks me up. It's so fucking stupid. It's absolutely awesome. And to be honest, kind of complimentary as well in a kind of silly, retarded way. So just spamming rockets here to get this section of the level done as I move my way into the sewer part, as I want to talk about the enemies in this game. They're all so incredibly fitting. These clowns, what could you ask for better enemies to fight with in a game where Joker is the main villain? It's just fantastic. You got the bigger dudes up top breathing the fire. It's all so very fitting. I cannot say enough good things about this game. It's just extremely fun to play. You know, I've said it before that just because a game is kind of easy doesn't mean it's bad. Yes, I do enjoy hard games, but I love good games more than anything. And if it happens to be an easy one, well, so be it if it's a fun experience. Sure, I upped the difficulty by going for the no death run, and hell, that's something I was able to do because I love the game. I only go for NDRs at games that I love, and this game is fucking awesome. It's just a really enjoyable experience that I will shove down everybody's fucking throat until they play it.
Are you fucking serious?
Now, this boss is pretty easy when you figure out his pattern. Like, really easy when you figure out his pattern. But, like, I don't know, it's still a nice added element that it includes a certain amount of bosses that again, are a little more fitting. I could see guys like this carrying swords, working for the Joker, and trying to stab Batman to death. Like I said, the guy with the boombox and the other guy with the sword are legitimately in the movie. Now, I don't know if this guy is in the background when they're doing the Prince music and dancing around. This dude might be in the background with them. Like, the guy with the boombox legitimately is, and I still think that's really awesome. In the Sky Over Gotham City. Okay, so this part is incredibly short, and through a lot of trial and error and a fair bit of practice and experimenting, I started to move around and find spots that were ironically safe. That opening spot in the top right corner, down here where I'm sitting right now, is just a ironic little safe spot that, you know, just made it that more comfortable and that much easier to do. I died a whole bunch of times experimenting and trying to do this, and that's one thing I love about gaming, is finding little secrets and things like that that can make the playthrough really, really easy. As you would generally think to fly around and dodge and shoot all the choppers and dodge their missiles, that actually is a lot harder than finding a little safe spot. What made me think of doing this was actually finding a similar trick in the game Tailspin for Sega Genesis. Not a very good game, that one. This one's much better, as I destroy the boss, still comfortably sitting with 60 plus rockets. The second last level, Gotham Cathedral. And for sure, the toughest level in the game, because you have a boss gauntlet. Not that the bosses are tough, but it's a long-winded level. It doesn't offer a whole lot of health or a whole lot of goons. I don't like how they recycled the goons here. I thought they could at least give them some slightly different color clothes, or I thought they could have mixed in some of the goons from the first level or some of the clowns from the level previous. But regardless, this one is a bit of a filler level, but it still serves its purpose and adds to the longevity of the game and adds to the experience of the game. It also allows you to use the grapple quite a bit, which I love actually. The grapple and the flip in this game are some of my favorite parts. And another song that is incredibly catchy and awesome with a really good bass line.
Good Lord.
One thing I want to point out that definitely adds to this game's difficulty when not going for a no death run is, if you die, you are reduced to 5 batarangs. And yeah, that can obviously make it a lot harder, right? So it's one of those interesting things that when you play well, you're almost rewarded by stockpiling things like shurikens in Revenge of Shinobi or batarangs in Batman. It like pays to survive. Another thing I really like is where it shows Batman's face in the bar below next to the batarangs, where it shows the 2 men I have. That's a good picture for, you know, the indicator of how many men you have. Like, that just looks crisp and clean. Like, maybe it's subtle and unimportant, but hey, it still looks nice. Like, that whole bar at the bottom is just aesthetically pleasing. Okay, no joke, this guy's actually pretty difficult without excessive amount of batarangs. You got to use your front flip and like dive on him and land a knee. Landing the shots isn't really that hard, but if he hits you, dude kills you in like 2 hits. And he is also in the background in the movie with Jack Nicholson.
His knees are broken. Serious?
Well, it's funny. I did say that I hated that they recycled the enemies. They do change those guys' clothes up, and they did include some of the clown enemies as well. So I guess there's a little more variety than I gave it credit for. And you gotta love this guy, throwing his boombox, jumping in with a big splash. He doesn't even need a top rope to jump up. He just flies through the air and hits you with that big splash. But yeah, for sure, if you consider, like I said, that boxing dude, he can kill you in 2 hits. And there is still the sword guy in this guy. So getting through this section without dying is pretty damn difficult, because you got to be perfect pretty much, because there's very little room for error as we make our way to the last level here. This level is pretty fucking obnoxious. You got these guys throwing the dynamite. This is an annoying ass level that I still find the other level previous harder, but this section is still pretty damn tough. Having the excessive amount of banarangs again made it much more doable, but man, those dynamites, man, again, 2 of them got you dead.
Ooh, that was close.
Okay, so this was the first place. I discovered this by accident. I just fell down, and when I climbed up, I noticed the batarangs were right back again, and this was the first time I discovered that I could farm them. So once I discovered this, I tried throughout the rest of the game to find more. And I only ever found one other location in the 3rd level, but whatever, man, it helped gets the job done. I kind of suck a little bit here and almost die, as I want full health. For obvious reasons. There's some health that's hidden a little bit later, but I almost die going to get it. The nerves get the best of you sometimes when going for this shit, because you know you're clutch for so long, and that's when the pressure's really on. And that's a part of what I like doing NDRs. Again, I mentioned before that having ADHD, I honestly think having the patience and the focus is good for my ADHD. You know, because being a person that can be easily distracted, it's good to do something that requires extra amount of focus, and I just think it's good for the brain. Honestly, I think it's good for the focus, good for the attention span, good for my patience, as I fucked that up right there.
Panic there.
Luckily,
Not
though,
cool.
At least I fell in a spot where it's not a pit death. If I were to fall at this spot, it would be an insta death. So I guess it was at least a better place to fuck up my jump. Insanely lucky there, as that guy's dynamite just missed me. I already got hit by the one that reduced me to 2 health bars, and that one just by like a pixel flew past me. Now, no matter what, Joker is pretty damn easy in this game, but going in with a shit ton of banarangs makes him like near impossible. Like, I don't know how I'm fucking all this up right here. Like, I'm watching it, and it's just terrible. Like, there was a lot of luck there as I fell down that one of those torch weren't blowing, and I don't know how. There's a lot of luck on my side for this level, and a lot of choking too. Like, like it is what it is, right? You can't be perfect, but I guess even in a no death run, which essentially I guess could be considered a perfect run, it's not a perfect run because there's all kinds of errors there. Baseball counts errors. I could count my own errors, and I made quite a few.
So we're gonna repeat that all again, but I got full health. That was close. All right, now we're in business. Now we can get through the level. That was retarded. Dumb. This is fine and dandy. All right. Now we're gonna be hyper aggressive on Joker because we can. Yeah. No death run, baby. BatMan for the Sega Genesis by Sunsoft. I will allow commentary Steve to provide the necessary commentary on what got the job done. Don't get it twisted, guys. BatMan is an easy game, but its no death run is very hard. In short, preparation and paying attention is what made this one possible. Truth be told, I hate to admit it, but finding out the two little secrets on how to farm batarangs or bangarangs, probably batarangs, in the two spots. I only learned about the one early in the game, like one turn ago. Didn't take me a ton of tries, but it did take a lot of preparation. Not an easy no death run. Hell yeah, one more for the books. One more closer to 25. And a good one because Valis was very, very easy. Now I'm gonna follow this one up with another easy one. And then I got a hard one I'm working on. Well, I haven't even really worked on it. I've done a little bit of practice. That one's gonna be very tough. And the tough one's gonna be a childhood favorite. It'll be a long one too. It'll be annoying. This one was fun. This one was hard, but again, commentary Steve will talk about some of the things that made it easier without paying attention. See, that's the fun thing about gaming is you look carefully at certain things, like in the flying level. That's a tough little level to do without dying, but I found some safe spots. I just figured, got a bunch of men, died a bunch of times, and tried different things. Thank you for watching my no death run of BatMan by Sunsoft for the Sega Genesis. Fuck yeah. Oh, and thanks to Level 1 Online for the Alpha Nerd song. That is music for 2 levels in this game. Thanks for watching, guys.